Ashley, you there?
I'm here.
There we go. Good stuff. Good stuff there. Hang on one second. I'm doing one thing here. Boom. Turning that over there. All right. Well, hey, all the way from up just north of here, from the Big D, we got the one, the only Ashley Berges joining us here, who is the host of the Live Your True Life Perspectives. If you have not heard of her, oh my gosh, take some notes because you're going to want to know and follow this lady. She's dedicated to advocating a new perspective for people and offering them the necessary tools to create an authentic, fabulous life. She's a syndicated talk show host of Live Your True Life Perspectives, creator and host of Celebrity Perspective, the new web series launching this fall. Is also a renowned life coach, in-demand keynote speaker, contemporary philosopher, acclaimed author, and clinical psychologist, which is awesome. Did not know that about you. With over 100,000 followers on social media and a show that airs 6 days a week, both nationally and internationally on multiple platforms and networks. Ashley is often called the man whisperer, champions her knowledge and experience to coach people on how to expose dating, sex and relationships pitfalls, definitely navigate through divorce, face the challenges of the family afterward, cultivate influential leadership skills, and champion your true life out there. She's authored the celebrated book, Live Your True Life, and her latest, The 10-Day Challenge to Live Your True Life, the guidebook for busy people who want to make valuable changes to their lives. So good morning, sunshine.
Good morning. Glad to be here. How you doing, sweetheart?
I'm doing great, Ashley. So honored to have you on here. Excited to have you on. You and I have we've met before at a different podcasting Podfest, where we met and podcast, doing things different like that. Just excited to have you on here. We had a chance to hook up and meet again at the new media summit that Steve puts on. But for those that don't know you, besides what I just shared, why don't you take a minute or two to share who you are, why you're such a rock star, Ashley.
Oh my gosh, you're awesome. I love you, Scott. Yeah, you're a rock star. It takes one to know one, right? It's life is just great. Just been working hard and just taking things to the next level. And I guess if I was to categorize myself, I would just say, working hard diligently to change the communication factor on this planet. It's like everybody needs to begin to see other people's viewpoints. They don't have to change, but I think that we're in a time moment right now where people would rather argue and fight than actually hear somebody else speak. And sometimes things that come out of certain people's mouth might not make any sense, but the factor of the ability that they have the ability to say what they say is what I think we need to accept. And I think that we need to enter into a new world of communication, and that's what I'm trying to help do. So
yeah, you just have to look at all the TV and then even all the social media. More people want to fight about differences versus just sitting down and listening or identifying things that keep us, that unite us together. It just seems that it doesn't matter what it is, politics, religion, difference of opinion on different things. People like to fight. And I think the only way for us to heal is to come together. I think, and you're doing a great job about that.
Thank you. And I think, the only way to do that is to open the dialogue and to explain to the fact that we're all the same. We're all connected. We're all part of that whole thing. And so it's like when we feel like we're different or we feel like we're divided, it's just kind of, it's almost like we have a veil over us where we're not able to see the truth in reality, when in reality we are all connected. And that's what I'm trying to do with the celebrity perspective, to stop the objectification of celebrities, to stop people thinking that they're not good enough as a celebrity, to look at people as celebrity-wise and say, they're no different than me.
Right.
Let's talk about the real issues and, divorce, anxiety, overcoming whatever that is. Look at it from that perspective, talk about it, exchange about it with people that are all different creeds, races, religions, female, male perspective in a happy, it doesn't have to always be agreeable, because I don't think we all want to just agree for agreeing, but the fact that we all respect what each other has to say, and then we can actually understand how they came up with that concept. And I think that it'll take away the sense of ambiguity when it comes to actual communication in our society today.
Yeah, that's a really good point. What was talking about how celebrities are just normal people, what's probably been your biggest aha moment from one of your interviews?
I think one of the biggest aha moments was being able to communicate. So, it's funny because that whole first season, I didn't actually meet with the celebrities until like 2 minutes before they got on set. So a little FYI for everybody that's seen the show, this was a shoestring budget. The whole season was shot in 2 days. 2 days. Child labor laws, big time. We had problems. And I was the child.
Hang on a second.
And I was the child going 5 a.m., and then you're leaving at midnight and you're doing the same thing the next day. So the coolest thing was not knowing any one of those people personally until we got in the room, no script, no nothing, and people actually feeling very comfortable to have that normal, real conversation. And then afterwards asking me where my office was in Los Angeles, California. And I think that was something that really connected people because they said for the first time I had a real interview. And it was funny because every manager, every agent was in the room for each person. And the first thing that they said was, I don't know about this. I don't know about this because I switched on camera. In the middle of the interview, we switched seats and the celebrity asked me personal questions about their life. And every manager and every agent was like, I'm not sure about this. If I don't like it, what am I going to do? I go, if you don't like it, we can stop it where it's at and we will just stop filming. And so at the end of the filming, they were all like, it was the best interview my client's ever done. Oh my God, it was so powerful. And there were tears, some people had tears, and I said, that's what it's all about. And I think that at first they thought I was going to take it to that next level where I was going to hurt somebody, take their life and throw it through the mud, you know how it is on a lot of these shows where they just want to do that. And they realized it was actually a very loving, compassionate, no judgment zone. And these people were actually able to talk about stuff they've never voiced on TV ever.
That is huge. That's literally not it's strumming the heartstrings, but in a good way, not in a way that's ugly. And I think that's where a lot of people, especially celebrities, probably use the media trying to just take a piece of somebody to make it controversial or bash people to kind of give ratings. And that's really the opposite way you should be going these days, correct?
Yeah, and I think we do it. I mean, it relates to podcasts and everything as well. It's like, you have someone that's on the show and it's like, it's so much more valuable to be vulnerable and to be vulnerable with them. And I think that our society is misconstrued with our definition of vulnerability. I think the first thought that we all think when we think about vulnerable is in a corner crying and wailing and with our arms like this and completely like part of us has been stolen from us. But I think in reality, vulnerability means I'm going to come to the conversation and be completely honest and transparent. And that other person's going to do the same thing. We're going to take away the masks. If we wear them often, we're going to put them on the table. We can claim them when we leave. You know what I'm saying? But I think also the more vulnerable you are, the more there's no necessary need for any cover-ups. There's no necessary need to wear sunglasses at night. You know what I'm saying? And so I agree. I think it's fundamentally where we need to go because I think people are hungry for this content, but unfortunately, mainstream media has not figured that out yet, or does not want to figure that out yet.
I would probably lean more on B versus A. I'll take some for a few unique shows out there. For somebody who's a new podcaster or looking to be like an interview show, what tips can you give them to being a more effective interviewer?
The first thing, I think the best tip is who are you? Okay, so you can interview a million people on your show, but if your show doesn't identify with me as you, and I don't understand what you're trying to do, what is it, an interview show? My thing is that there's a whole reason for what I do. I wrote a book called Live Your True Life. I wrote the 10-day challenge to live your true life. I'm big in philosophy. Psychology is a big thing. I like the life coaching deal. But if I didn't have all that, what would be the basis? And I think for any new podcaster out there, my biggest belief is try to figure out who you are first, because that's what I did. I didn't interview anybody on my shows. Well, I mean, I've been on the radio for a long time, but I would say outside of 10 interviews, I didn't interview anybody for the first 300 shows. Okay, and it was about my psychology, my philosophy, who I am and what I'm doing. And then later on, as I actually incorporate an interview, I incorporate someone that has something or does something that I can't really speak to at that level, but yet I need them because I want their perspective to be there. And I think you have to know yourself and know what you can't speak to, know yourself and know what you can speak to, and then figure out who you want to actually interview. But don't just interview for the sake of interviewing. Have a stake in the game, have some skin in the game, and say, okay, I'm going to use these interviews to add to my story, to add to my perspective, instead of using that as my show.
So you really used that first year to kind of hone Ashley,
Yeah.
And I think that's important. I know when I started mine, I did 9 months of Facebook Live videos to kind of to figure out my audience and stuff like that. I think a lot of people get into podcasting in media, they just think they're going to be awesome right out the gate. And we all know this is a different kind of media, right, Ashley?
Right. It takes time. I have folks that come to me and they go, hey, how do I get a radio show? How do I do this? And I'm like, wow, that's a loaded question. You know, you got 24 hours or 36? I don't know. Let's figure this out. But they, you know, that's like, how did you get where you are? I was like, well, I've been on the radio, you know, since 2012. You know, how do you get to where you are? It's like, you know, you'll hear people talk about how they hate hearing their voice on, you know, on the radio or on podcasts. And I'm like, that's the first problem. If you can't listen to yourself while you're eating Wheaties, then you got a problem. You know, I mean, because you need to be able to hear yourself and go, man, that was a bonehead comment. Or wow, that was a stroke of genius, you know, pat on the back. But I think that you have to be willing to take the lumps. But you also, what I've realized too, is that, you know, as a podcaster, you want to be able to hold your own, you know, because I've had a few people, I had a couple of interviews in the first part of my career that they like literally were going to take that train and run with it. Have you ever had anybody like that where they're going to take over your show? And they're not going to give anything to the audience, okay? They're going to keep telling the audience about how they need to buy this or buy that. And I was done. But I think that's a big thing, too, is just knowing what your show is and who you are.
Mm-hmm. Staying true to your roots, staying true to what you are is so important out there. What's funny is you talk about nobody loves hearing their own voice. And when I was in college, when I first was going to college, I took a mass communications class for TV. It was TV radio, intro to TV radio. And the first thing they made us do was record our voice and listen to it and understand that what we hear is different than what you guys out there hear differently, because we hear it differently. And get over that really fast, because nobody likes their voice. I don't like my voice. Nobody does, but you have to grow to appreciate it and go from there, right?
Yes. You have to. You gotta love it. You gotta own it. You know, I mean, I wanted that high pitched cheerleader voice my whole life too. You know, I got over it. You know, I had this voice starting when I was 6 years old. You know, I'd call my friends up on the phone to ask them if they wanted to come over and play, and I would try to modulate my voice a little higher, even at 6 or 7, and they would literally be like, "That's a really good job, Ashley. I know it's you." And I would literally be like, and they'd be like, "I'm coming over," and I'd be like, "Okay." And my mom was like, do you want to change your voice? Because she's a music major, and she actually raised her voice to a middle C. And I was like, no, I'm good with it. I'm going to figure out why I have this voice, and I'm going to embrace it eventually. And so eventually after college, I began to embrace it. But it took at least 22 years of my life. I mean, I didn't embrace it till way after undergraduate. I mean, like, because it wasn't something that – anything that's not normal – is something that we really push against. Isn't that funny how whether a lady's 6'3", she doesn't like her height because it's not normal. I mean, the average woman's what, 5 foot, you know, do you want to be 5 foot or someone that has a voice like that or someone, you know, it's like we all like categorize ourselves as the thing that's unique, and what we call weird is that, you know, what do we do with it? But then eventually I think we realize that that's something you actually can do something with, and that's part of your gifts that you've been given.
That's what makes us so unique. That's what makes us out there. And I think the sooner that people can realize to quit trying to judge ourselves for others and realize the gifts that God gave us out there, the more we are at home, the better entrepreneurs, the better interviewers, the better people that we are, because we get over that thing that holds that other people might hold over us. We realize that's a strength, and it helps to build us a lot stronger, not only individually but emotionally, and I think it helps us with our relationships as well too, because if people can see us overcoming what they might think is a down, we think is a strength. I heard an interview about Michael Strahan talking about the gap in his teeth, how he thought for years to get that changed. And finally realized, wait, no, that's part of who I am. I can't change that. I might as well embrace that, right?
I love that. I love that. Michael Strahan. You know, that's the thing. It's like, you know, that to me is uniqueness. And it's like, why should I try to hide myself and what's so bad about it anyway? You know, it's like we deem ourselves, and I think we're just so critical, because would we have a problem with that with somebody else that we know? No. You know,
what's been the biggest thing you've learned from any of your guests? What's the biggest thing that's impacted you the most?
God.
I know I should have sent that to you earlier, but I just pulled. I wanted to catch you unprepared.
Holy hand grenade, Superman. You know, I would say that I learn every single moment. I learn from my guests every moment. I learn from my clients, whether it's with therapy clients or coaching clients. I learn something every day. And the coolest thing about learning every day is that it doesn't get old. And, people ask me because I see a lot of clients for depression, anxiety, marital issues, whatever it is. And they go, how does that not get to you? And the reason why it doesn't get to me is I can put my feet in their shoes every single time, and I can actually listen for what's going on and understand it. And that's what's so powerful is that I feel like when you get to the point where you realize that you could be them at any moment, like the veil of ignorance principle, Immanuel Kant, and that whole concept, you never know who you're going to be. So going to make the laws and make the decisions based on the fact that you might actually have to follow these laws and decisions. So when I'm visiting with somebody on the podcast or whatever, I learn so much. And it's like whether I experience that in my life, like physically experience that this lifetime, or if I get to experience whatever they experience through what they're telling me, that's kind of where I go. And it's really powerful. And that's something that I've learned, that if you do that, it's like you're living like several lifetimes at once. And that's pretty cool stuff.
That is really cool. I'd never thought about that, but that's so true. We all have our experiences, but the more we can learn from our friends and people we come in contact with, everybody's got different experiences. That really is like living multiple lives at once. That's cool. Wow. Blown on that one. Boosh.
You asked. I had to give you a good one on that one.
That's a great point. Where do you see yourself going in the next 12 months with your show? Now, I know you got the guidebook, and we'll come back to that in a second, but where do you see yourself going in the next 12, 13 months?
Well, we're working on season 2, pre-production on the celebrity perspective, wanting to shoot that probably due to the holiday season. Coming up, you got the Thanksgiving block, you got the Christmas block, which is really tough. Mm-hmm. We knew that we either had to shoot at Emmys, or we knew that we had to shoot after Christmas. So we're looking at a 1st of January shoot time. If not, maybe December, but we're trying to get it all done in 1 week. So that means, putting together, you got 12 episodes, so you got 12 celebrities. Then I'm doing that roundtable discussion, which is another additional celebrity, myself, and 3 other people for every episode, for 12 episodes. So we got to shoot all that. Then we got to turn around and me and a skeleton crew shoot the B-roll for 1 week for everything. I mean, like, we're talking hardcore combat type shooting. This is hardcore. We will be eating at the Whole Foods, and we will be all sleeping in one room kind of thing. And we're going to get this done, and we're going to be a group, and we're going to be a team. But that's really what I'm working on right now, an investment in that show, and actually bringing investment to that show, because I have a good feeling we're going to be able to, sell this concept and take it to the global level like I'd like to, all around the world, and so it'd be here, United States, and then Dubai, India, Australia, that kind of sort of thing, Great Britain, something like that. But I'm working on that. The second thing that I'm working on is I want to really work on my podcast and radio. And the thing that I've had the problem is I have one side of my brain is radio, one side of my brain is podcast, and I haven't figured out how to formulate the stuff right now. And I need to figure out the secret sauce of really how to take. I mean, got the TV, got the media. I can actually help people with their PR and everything and advertising on so many different levels. It doesn't make sense why I don't even have my own PR agency at this point. But I need to figure out how to get people from one side to the other and how to really make whatever they want to do a reality. And I think that using these 2 tools could really do it. And so I'm wrapping my brain around the business side. I think a lot of folks on this podcasting today they've already wrapped themselves around the business side. They've wrapped it around. You have. I mean, you figured out this thing from A to B. I'm so impressed by everything you do. And so that's what I'm working on myself, is to try to take what I have and make it into something that makes sense across globally, not only because of the sense of what it's valued, but also the sense of how to take it to the next level and a business value as well.
Well, I know I'm always glad to help out. I guarantee anybody that's been a guest on here, any of us icons of influence, are always glad to help. I think it was so great about us being together for a couple of days here in Austin, and then also the Friday, just the 40 of us in a room, just bouncing ideas off each other and really working to support each other and truly creating some win-win relationships, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So how is what's the best way for people to get a hold of you, to track down Ashley, to see what you're doing?
Okay, best way to find me? Well, you can text me. If you don't want to text me and you just want to, jump in on the conversation, if you go to ashleyberges.com, Ashley Berges, you can pretty much find me no matter how you spell it. But ashleyberges.com. My website has everything on there. If you'd like to check out the show on Amazon Prime, I would really love it. We're trying to drive viewers to that. And if you just go to the ashleyberges.com, the very top part of it on the front page is a link to Amazon Prime where you can just click on that and you can watch the show. And we are not against 5-star reviews. So.
Well, that's what I was going to get to, guys and gals. Go out there, listen to your show. I know I've been binging episodes here along with everybody else's to get prepared for this. And I absolutely love the show. Great stuff there on Amazon Prime. Great stuff on iTunes and stuff. They definitely leave her a 5-star review. I just love what you're doing, Ashley. I think you're just a trendsetter, and I so look forward to the next year of episodes from you. I'm looking forward to that stuff, and I'm just sure I've gained some great nuggets from everybody that's listening out there. You'll be surprised at the conversation, be surprised at the questions, and most of all, really, I think surprised at a lot of the answers to the questions that you're asking, Ashley.
Well, thank you so much, Scott, and I appreciate you. And I'm gonna be calling you up and asking questions and everything. And I just appreciate our friendship. We met each other previously at that other event, and now Icons of Influence. So I feel like there's definitely a need to continue this conversation. I also look forward to having you on my show as well, Scott.
I'll be glad to, definitely. Well, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, Ashley. Morning. It's still morning here in Texas, I think.
It kind of is. It kind of is. I got to actually go. I'm a reverend I'm actually marrying this couple, so I got to go find out what I got to get ready for all that for later on today. So.
Well, go have fun with it. It'll be a blast.
Well, I will. We're going to marry a group of people, so it'll be actually not a group, but 2 people. And it's actually my first straight wedding. So, so anyway, so I don't know what that means, good, bad, or indifferent, but I think it's all great. So my first straight wedding, so I'll go do that today.
Good stuff, Ashley. Good stuff. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on here and just sharing some great insight and stuff like that. We really appreciate it. It's been a big addition to International Podcast Day for us.
You are awesome, sweetheart, and I look forward to talking with you here in the next few days.
Sounds good. We'll see you later.
Take care.
Yeah. Bye. All right. So that is going to wrap it up for Ashley here. Boom. I'm going to do one more thing here. All right. Good stuff there. All right. Our next guest here. Who is our next guest on here on the Podcast Day 2018 is let's hang on here. It is Phoebe. Where is Phoebe at? Phoebe Morasek is supposed to be joining us on here. I think I saw her jump on Facebook and leave a comment a few minutes ago. Phoebe, where are you? There she is. There she is. Good stuff there. Let me go ahead and do that. All right, good stuff. You have your mic turned on there, Phoebe? Can you hear me? Oops, where'd she go? Where did she go?